Assalamualaikum and good evening to our lecturer Dr. Nadia. So we are going to present about the impact of Covid-19 on economic growth in Malaysia.
For introduction, the coronavirus disease 19 or known as Covid-19 is the most alarming topic in the world. It first appeared in Wuhan, China. At the end of 2019, the Chinese government notified the World Health Organization that there were multiple cases of pneumonia with unknown causes. Besides, huge and continuing outbreaks of this virus have become a major concern in Malaysia, with far-reaching implications for the economy and financial markets. Direct damage caused by the virus can be seen in the tourism and travel sectors, manufacturing, construction, mining and agriculture, according to MBank Group Chief Economist Anthony Des, with many jobs being laid off and others being put on unpaid leave. Covid-19 has had a detrimental effect on the global economy as a whole. As a conclusion, Malaysia has taken several steps to recover its economy in order to reduce the economic effects of the pandemic. Furthermore, each person plays a critical role in ensuring that the society and nation are free of COVID-19.
There are some of the major effects of the outbreak that the country faced, especially in economy. Pandemics cause a short-term fiscal impact and a long-term economic impact on the nations around the world. It also involves health system expenditures to provide health facilities to infectious cases and arrangement of consumables such as antibiotics, medical supplies, and personal protective equipment. First, pandemics can also result in declined tax revenues and increased expenditure, which causes fiscal stress, especially in lower middle-income countries, where fiscal constraints are higher and tax systems still need improvement. Economic shocks are common during pandemics due to shortage of labor because of illness, rise in mortality, and a fear-induced behavior. Other than labor shortage, disruption of transportation, close down of workplace, restricted trade and travel, and closed land border are reasons for the pandemic's economic slowdown. Then, travel still far from taking off. The travel industry has been badly damaged, with airlines cutting flights and customers cancelling business trips and holidays. New variants of the virus discovered only in recent months have forced many countries to introduce tighter travel restrictions. Data from the flight tracking service Flightradar24 shows that the number of flights globally took a huge hit in 2020, and it is still a long way from recovery. Before the pandemic COVID-19, economy in the country seemed like to be so stable. All the facilities, institutions and also industry are so fine. The social economy contribute to economic development, especially to local economic development, by stimulating economic activity and creating employment, particularly for vulnerable people who are often excluded from the labour market, contributing to GDP growth. Social economic organization instill responsible practice as well as sustainable and inclusive models. Then, there were so many job opportunities in industry for the people need, as there were many factory new has been opened. Through this, it will take many people to work at that base in order to occupy the job. After the pandemic COVID-19, there are some of the effects for the current time. Some of the effect is slowing of the manufacturing of essential goods. Production of several essential goods is running low. Ever since India put 1.3 billion people under lockdown. First, the statewide shutdowns and then the national one that came into effect on March 24 midnight has been consumer goods companies are facing myriad issues from state permissions for manufacture, absent labor to stranded stock. Second, disrupt the supply chain of products. If alternate suppliers are not immediately available, a company should determine how much extra stock to hold in the interim, in what form, and where along the value chain. Of course, safety stock, like any inventory, carries with it the risk of obsolescence and also ties up cash. It runs counter to the popular practice of just-in-time replenishment and lean inventories. Last, poor cash flow in the market. Cash is king, and even more so in time of crisis. Liquidity will now be at the forefront of a company's list of issues due to the exceptionally poor trading conditions. Given its importance, companies should immediately develop a treasury plan for cash management as part of their overall business risk and continuity plans.
Okay, moving to my part, that is economic policy. Okay, what is the meaning of the economic policy? Economic policy refers to the action that governments take in the economic field. It covers the system for setting interest rate and government budget, as well as the labor market, national ownership, and many other areas of government interventions into the economy. Okay, in this slide, I will explain about the economic policy in Malaysia that causes by Covid-19. Okay, for the first one is there is two stages of economic policy in Malaysia. Stage 1, measures should be implemented when quarantine or particular lockdown measures are imposed to safeguard the income and liquidity of the affected business and individual. Stage 2, measures should comprise a hefty fiscal stimulate component and should be implemented as soon as the outbreak shows signs of subside and movement controls are lifted. For the MCO measure, while absolutely essential in impending the outbreak of the new coronavirus in Malaysia, will have devastating economic costs too. The main source of economic damage in Malaysia are twofold. The first is the knock-on effect from the impact of the coronavirus abroad. The second is generated domestically due to the newly imposed movement control measure. First, long for the particular lockdown measure in Malaysia, outbreak of the new coronavirus in China had created wide-ranging supply and demand shock that have reverberated across the globe. So on the macro level, the closure of the business and service along with the travel and movement control will have outsized impact on private consumptions and business investment.
So for the conclusions, there are some of the approaches or initiatives that have been taken by the government. Alright, so I will explain one by one. So firstly is government already applied the 6R approach, consists of 6 stages, which is resolve, resilient, restart, recovery, revitalize, and reform. Secondly, government have also enhanced more sustainable living by having a close partnership with the appropriate with non-governmental organization, which is NGOs, and also the civil society organization, CSOs. And then next one is government also have tried to boost the competitiveness by improving the technological acceptance across the board, including individuals, SMEs, and also corporates. Other than that, Multilateral Development Bank (MDB) also play a crucial role, which is government or the financial institutions, Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM), maybe can try to seek financial support through this MDB as purpose for the economic recovery. And then lastly, Bank Negara Malaysia, which is as a financial institution in our nations, can also introduce digital banks, which will contribute to digital economic progressions. So these are all of the example of what the government assists towards all the rakyat, despite with this pandemic COVID-19. So as a result, all the private sector, the non-governmental organization, and other stakeholders have an important roles in order to complementing the government, so that no one is left behind in the national development agenda.
That's all from us. Thank you for spending your time to watch and listen to our presentation.